Hello everyone, it's Lindsay and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, special welcome to you. Check out the content. I have a little bit of something for everybody. Today we're going to be working on a Bible journaling process. So I'm going to meet you at my desk in just a few minutes, but I wanted to talk to you about the devotional that I'm jumping into and the scripture that we will be journaling today. So I'm starting the Come to the Table devotional from BytheWell4God. I will link my unboxing down below where you can see everything that comes in the kit and kind of a little bit about it, and it's gorgeous. You definitely want to check that out. And so we are going to be jumping in, and the day that this video is releasing is actually Ash Wednesday. It's the start of Lent, and so some of you will be working on this devotional as part of your Lent study. Now, it's not necessarily specific to a Lent study. It's not like a 40-day study or anything like that. It's kind of Easter themed. It's during the time leading up to Christ's death and resurrection, and so it will kind of go with the season. So if you're looking for something to do for Lent, this might be an option. If you have questions about Lent, don't know what Lent is, I have a video, it should be releasing today as well, talking about Lent and what my plans are and what I will be doing for the season of Lent. So I will link that down below if it is already released. It should be. And then you can go check that out if you have some questions. So diving right in, first off, I'm not going to apologize for the sound of rain because we're in California and we love rain, but you might be able to hear it is super, super stormy outside. So I kind of hope that you can hear it and enjoy it and it's not distracting, but it is really stormy outside. So, and my washing machine's going, like always. So I'm starting in day 1, and this is titled Dinner Party. And we are setting the scene in Matthew chapter 9, verses 10 through 13. And Jesus has just recently recruited Matthew to be one of his disciples. Matthew was a tax collector during that time. And they've put together this dinner party with Jesus and his disciples and a whole bunch of other tax collectors. Some scholars believe that these may be friends of Matthew's that he's invited over to have dinner. And so here in Matthew 9, 10 through 13, it says, "And as Jesus reclined at table in the house, behold, many tax collectors and sinners came and were reclining with Jesus and his disciples. And when the Pharisees saw this, they said to his disciples, 'Why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners?' But when he heard it, he said, 'Those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. Go and learn what this means. I desire mercy and not sacrifice, for I came not to call the righteous, but sinners.'" So here Jesus is having this dinner party with all of these tax collectors. Now, during this time that this is happening, tax collectors at that time are the lowest of the low. They are scamming people. They are liars. They are, taking people's money. It's just not good. Now, tax collectors aren't loved in today's society. I don't think so either. But during this time, it was really bad. There was no oversight to them. They kind of just did what they wanted, and they just weren't people that you wanted to associate with. And so when the Pharisees come in and they see that Christ is having dinner with these people, they're like, Jesus, what are you doing? Don't you know that we don't associate with those people? We definitely don't sit down and invite them to dinner. Like, what are you doing? And so Jesus explains to them, these are exactly the people that I came here for. The broken, the lowest of the low, the sick, the needy. Those are the ones that I'm here for. And so we are the same. We are the same as those tax collectors. We are all sinners, and that came about during the fall when Adam and Eve sinned and brought sin into the world. We are born sinners, and so thankfully Christ came to die for us so that his blood may be shed and may give us the ability to be saved from eternal death, which is what we deserve because of sin. And so where those tax collectors are, we are invited to that exact same table. And so a couple of the prompts kind of ask you, how do you feel about being asked to join this motley crew of misfits? We're invited to the table, we're invited to be a part of Christ's family. And so how do you feel about sitting next to those other sinners? Are you like the Pharisees where you're staring down your nose and like, I'm better than them, I shouldn't be here. Why am I associating with these people? Or do you realize that we are just as broken as the person next to us? It just might look a little bit different, but all of our sin is equal in the sight of God, and we're all broken. We all need Jesus in our life. For me, it's reassuring to know that I'm welcome to that table. I mess up every second of every day. I am so far from perfect. If you guys could only live a day in my house with me, you would see. I yell at my kids. I lose my temper. I procrastinate to get things done. I sit on Pinterest and wish that I had the beautiful homes that I see on Pinterest. All those things are sin, and I am guilty of all of those. And so to know that I am welcome to the table with Christ just warms my soul and gives me such comfort. And so I encourage you to pick up this devotional if you haven't already. Don't feel like you're missing out because you're getting it past the start of Lent. You can get this at any time to work through. And I've always loved BytheWell4God's devotionals. They are so deep. There's so much information in there in scripture. And I'm only going to touch briefly on the devotionals in these videos that I do because I want to encourage you to pick it up for yourself and to experience it for yourself. So we're going to head on over to my desk. We're going to do some Bible journaling for this entry in Matthew chapter 9. As long as I haven't already filled it out in my Bible, we'll see. I have no idea what we're going to do today. Hopefully by the time that I cut from here to my desk, I will have something in mind. I'm sure it'll be fun. We'll see. And we'll create a Bible journaling entry. Now, if Bible journaling is not for you, if you kind of stumbled upon this video, don't worry. You don't have to paint in your Bible. You could work straight in the devotional itself. Or Lori from the BytheWell4God sells just blank traveler's notebooks. So you could grab one of those. You could grab just a lined notebook or a journal, a mixed media journal, whatever it might be that makes your heart happy and is comfortable for you. That's what you can create in. So let's head on over to my desk. Let's get to it and we'll create a Bible journaling entry today. Okay, so I think I figured out what I'm going to do. Luckily, Matthew chapter 9 hadn't been journaled yet in my illustrating Bible, so that kind of worked out. But I pulled out some of the die cuts from the kit. I did go ahead and cut down the white border just because that's my preference, is to have a little bit smaller of a border. So I cut those down, pulled those out. I also pulled out the Rustic Gears stamp set. This was a separate stamp set from what was in the kit. Let me show you. The kit one is right here. So there is a gear in here that says come to the table and this clock. So you could create the page that I'm going to create using the stamp set that comes with the kit. But I just wanted to use just a variety of these different gears. I've got some frayed burlap distress oxide ink. This is my absolute favorite brown ink. And I'm going to be using this to stamp with, to ink blend with, and do some techniques with that. I remembered that I have not done any foiling in a really long time on my channel, and so I thought, hey, why not pull it out? Let's just do everything today and do some foiling. So I have some deco foil in this like coppery, rose goldy copper, what is this? Rose gold. This is rose gold. And then a Zig 2-way glue pen. So I'm going to show you how I do some foiling techniques with this. I have a makeup brush. Yes, just a cheapy $1 makeup brush. I'll be using this to blend some ink. I'm going to kind of grunge up my die cuts. I love the kind of vintage steampunk feel of the kit, so I want to kind of grunge these a little bit. And then I have the alpha stickers that you can pick up extra to coordinate with the kit, and then the alphas that come with the kit. And so I may pull in some other things, but that's what I'm going to start with. And then we, again, are journaling in Matthew chapter 9, verses 10 through 13. I am working in the illustrating Bible, which is sold out, but you could take this technique and put it into anything, so don't worry about that. So let me go ahead and put you on fast forward and we'll start putting this page together. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and lay these out on the page to kind of figure out where I want them to be placed before I do my stamping, because I am going to kind of focalize the stamping behind these die cut pieces. So in this video, I end up showing you 3 different ways to use Distress Oxide inks. So this first way is going to be stamping. So I am using, again, that frayed burlap color, and I'm actually going to ink it up and then stamp it on a scrap piece of paper first and then take it to my page, because I want a little bit lighter of a impression, since this is going to be in the background, and this brown can be pretty dark if you go in, you know, full strength. So You can see I also did like second and third generation stamping as well, just to kind of get some texture. Like I said, this is background, so you don't want to really be able to make out what it is in the background. It's just adding some texture and depth and interest behind those pieces. So I'm just kind of switching up, using different size gears, different styles of gears. Like I said, you could use a combination of that gear and that clock that's in the stamp set that comes in the kit and get a similar effect if you did not have this stamp set. Now, if this stamp set is sold out, don't worry. She's bringing them back. I know a couple of the sets sold out, so don't worry. They will be coming back into stock. And this is one of those ones that is going to be a staple for me. Excellent texture stamp, background stamp. My kiddos are going to use it. This is one I am glad to have in my stash. I think she also has a stencil in the shop that you can get as well if that is more your style. So here is the second way to use distress inks. And I know this is pretty sped up, but I'm blending this ink into the background. So I've switched up. I'm using Tattered Rose Distress Oxide ink. I have that makeup brush, and then I'm just picking up some color and then lightly dusting it onto the page. And the brush just gives you a softer, more controlled look than using the actual blending tools that you can get from Ranger. I do love those for different techniques, but for this one, it works better with the brush. And that just gives that really soft pink color. To clean my brush, I just spray a little water on a paper towel, wipe off the brush, and it's good to go. I do have a brush for each color family. So like blues, pinks, neutrals, that kind of thing. I'm also going to take a brush. This one is for my browns and neutrals, and I'm going to dingy up these die cuts. So I'm picking up some of that frayed burlap ink and then just dusting it on the edges of these die cuts, and it kind of gives it this vintage look. And so you could do this with, again, the edge of the ink pad or one of those blending tools, but I really struggled with more intricate die cuts, and I found it so much easier to use a makeup brush like this to get that really soft light color, and the bristles of the brush are able to get into every little nook and cranny of the die cut, and it just comes out with a better result. So I went ahead and did that for all of the die cuts, and it just gives it this really fun vintage look. Now here's the third way I'm going to use Distress Oxide inks. I have smushed out that frayed burlap onto a block, added a little bit of water on my brush, and then now I'm just going to splatter it. So we have stamping, blending, and splatters. 3 different ways to use oxides. Now you can see I did have a little bit of bleed through. If that bothers you, you could either prep the page or use something like the Versamagic chalk inks. There is a set that Lori curated to match the this particular kit. Those inks don't react with water quite the same way, so they're going to be a little bit different, but you can stamp with them, you can blend with them, and you can add water and splatter with it. It just doesn't have the same, there's just something about oxides. They have these different colors in them and textures. They're just yummy. They're beautiful. But if the bleed through bothers you, you could definitely achieve this page with the Versamark or the Versamagic inks as well. So now I'm just going in and sticking down my die cuts now that I have got that background finished. I adore the vintage feel of this page and how it came together. I am obsessed. This kit is just beautiful. So let's add to it. Let's make it even more yummy. I'm pulling out that foil, and we're going to add some foiling detail. Not a whole lot. In past videos, I have gone kind of like foil crazy on things. This is just going to be an ever so slight hint of foiling. So I'm using a Zig 2-way glue pen. You want a glue that dries sticky. So this particular pen, it's like a ballpoint pen. The glue comes out blue when it's wet, and then when it's dry, it's clear. You do want to wait till it's dry to use the foil. So you're not going to really be able to see where I'm putting it on camera, but I'm just going in and adding a little bit to like the center of the flowers, a little detail on the butterfly, just little hints, just little speckles of glue. Not a whole lot. I'm not globbing it on there. I'm just adding like little dots and touches of the glue. And then I am going to hit this with my heat tool to make sure it is 100% dry. But remember, this glue stays tacky even when it's dry. But you want to make sure it's not wet and like squishy before you go in with the foil. So I can take my foil and lay it down, and then I'm just burnishing it with a bone folder. You could use, whatever you have, your finger or whatever, but I found this works really well to just burnish that foil into that glue. And the glue, since it's sticky, grabs a hold of that foil, and you can see you just have this really pretty, just foiled detail. I am obsessed. So pretty. I don't know why I don't do this more often. I think it's because since I reorganized my craft space, my foils are kind of far down the line in my office away from me, and I'm not thinking to use them. So I pulled it out. We're going to use these a lot more often. So I'm just going through, you can see, and just burnishing away, and look at that fun little hint of shimmer on this page. Oh, so gorgeous. Now, if you have any stickiness residue, I always suggest to go in with an EK Success powder tool or baby powder and dust it over everything that has been foiled. And this is just going to take any stickiness that might be left behind from the glue so that your pages don't stick together. So I'm going to go ahead and add the title. Again, I've sped this up quite a bit because I'm just sticking down stickers. These are the coordinating clear alpha stickers and tile alpha stickers that go along with the kit. Everything will be linked down below for you guys. And I'm going to spell out, I am welcome at the Misfit table. And I don't know why, the whole time I was doing this page, I was thinking about that movie, is it Table 13 or Table 16 with Anna Kendrick, and it's like the misfit table at the wedding. That's what I was thinking of. It has nothing to do, it's not a biblical movie at all, but it just felt like the table of misfits, who end up being the cool table. That's going to be us. So I'm just flicking through, trying to find a tab, and do go ahead and antique this up a little bit with that frayed burlap Distress Oxide ink as well. I'm going to go through and pick a fabric tab, and somebody asked me recently about this, and so I can't remember who it was. I know I didn't answer your question. I like to untie these little tabs and retie them with just like an overhand knot, and it gives me more of this bow shape. That's just how I prefer these fabric clippies, but you do you. If you like it the other way, go for that. I just like this style a little bit better. And I'll go ahead and adhere that tab down with some dry adhesive, and then I do go ahead, and anytime that I am attaching a clip, I reinforce my tab with washi tape or something like that. So I am going to use the faux washi from the kit. That's these clear stickers here. I'm going to cut it in half, and then I'll show you how I kind of wiggle and shimmy my scissors on the edge to give it that washi, like torn edge look. So I'm just gonna shimmy, shimmy, shake, 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 make this little like faux torn edge, and then stick that down. And then that way it looks like true washi tape, and it's nice and secure. I don't have to worry about my page tearing underneath that bow. I'll add in my journaling off camera and a date, and that is it for the entry today. So if you have any questions or comments, be sure to list those down below. Check out the description box for links to everything that I mentioned today. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. And until next time, thank you so much. Bye-bye.